Okay guys, we are back, and Valerie is not here today because she kinda can't properly hold the conversation. So let me check my stream for a moment. Let me adjust the height. It's a little bit low. Put my face right up the painting so I can see, because wearing glasses and stuff, my eyes kind of blur out, especially when drawing these details. It's kind of hard, so I have to remove my glasses and put my face right up to the painting. And I thought that Vermeer used a process like Leonardo's process or maybe Raphael's process, but apparently it's different. So what he did was, according to studies, was he had two layers, right? The first layer would be this kind of layer. So most of these aren't done yet. He has cream color here. I don't know if that's visible on the camera. So this is cream colored underpainting, and then he used a reddish brown here, which I then used brown iron oxide, brown iron oxide, which has a reddish hint, but also grayish, and it's also dark. So I just mixed that with white, and then also he used indigo somewhere here, they say, but they're not quite sure if he used it here. But for me, when I'm looking at basically what I found with research is that there's not much information that gives us like 100% idea of what he did. So I just made assumptions, like looking at the shirt, for example, here, the clothing. I see a lots of blue underpainting that's going on there, which he layered then with maybe a sienna mixed with some red, maybe, to make that golden color. If you look at the reference here, you can see that there's green there, right? But that's not green, that's blue overlaid with some yellow. So I just tried to practice his brush strokes here to see it manifest maybe later. So I basically used phthalo blue here in this area, phthalo blue mixed with black. So indigo has a color of it's a blackish blue, right? So it's a blue green that's black. It's a very dark blue green. So basically we can achieve the same underlayer that he did here just using an indigo with white. Yeah, then by overlaying yellow on that, by laying finally a final layer of yellow or yellow ochre, we can achieve the same leathery texture is trying to get there. So but it's sure, they're sure that they find indigo here on the scalp, and I'm thinking that he used some ultramarine even in the underpainting, because you can see that at certain let me put up the reference. You can see that certain areas here are greenish, right? And that can only be, and he layered onto that a pinkish thin layer of pinkish color. So the only way to achieve that green is if you have a blue underneath there, or maybe even just this phthalo type color. And this phthalo can only be you can achieve this maybe by using the indigo mixed with white, or maybe using ultramarine mixed with brown ochre and then white. So you can also achieve this. So I'm looking at the painting as long side by side with the research, right? And it's leaves me some room to interpret how to paint it. And at this point, I'm a little bit confident to achieving this. The nose area, the eyes, and the lips. I have some ideas, though some angles here are off. I think I have an idea of how to achieve this. They say that he used like a gray here, a gray, or grayish brown, but all I can see on the painting is a greenish color. So if I put pink on this, this is not going to look greenish. This is gonna look actually just bluish. So I'm thinking of repainting most of this, because this is what they say Vermeer did, which if I follow through with that, I paint, let's say, a pinkish here, it's not gonna yield the same result as in the reference there. It has greenish. These areas are actually yellowish greenish here. So I may move to the same principle here, the bluish underpainting of the shadows, layered with the cream color, which is a yellow ochre, mixed with raw umber, burnt umber, which turns into this cream. But I think he's just 100 years away from Leonardo, right? So maybe he was trying to replicate Leonardo's layers, which is kind of there, because when you're using blue underpainting, then you place a yellow above it, it's gonna turn into this greenish color, right? So, and they say, according to the research, he painted different areas differently. So maybe I'm gonna move away from this reddish shadow and move to a greenish underpainting, and greenish brown kind of color. So you can see it everywhere, like here, you can see it everywhere, here. So basically there's a verdaccio almost, right? But it's a very thin verdaccio. And maybe it's just my monitor, but I can see it. Like in here, in this areas here, I can see the blues here. So it's not, knowing that Vermeer like bought a lot of ultramarine, I don't think, and he uses a lot of ultramarine or lapis lazuli, I think it's not beyond him to use it underneath as a you know, as a base for his skin tone. He could have used indigo with white, which I think what he did here, indigo with white, then later just glazed over some ultramarine. If you can see that in the original, there's like thick layers of ultramarine covering some stripes of ultramarine, and then, you know, most of it is just like white. So the plan is to first not paint the ultramarine and just paint it with indigo and with the structure that he had here, and then just, you know, so what I'm seeing is that there was a structure of the turban before he overlaid the actual ultramarine, which darkened it. But there's already a kind of, let's say, modeling. So it's kind of, it already looks correct there, but just no shadows. There's just deep areas like this one. It's blackened areas here. So, you know, and for this areas here, it's almost like he used ultramarine and then just layered over it with burnt umber, or maybe yellow ochre mixed with a brown ochre, which yields a yellowish, dark yellowish color, which when you mix with a blue underpainting like an ultramarine blue, it's gonna create the exact color that we see here. It's just the variation is just the amount of the deepness of the blue underneath, and then the thickness of the upper layer. So that's gonna create a difference. Eva Kravchenko, hello, good morning, good evening to you. I hope you're having a good day. Eva says it's real. What do you mean real? This painting, yes, it's an ongoing project that I'm doing. So the goal is to copy Vermeer's Girl with the Pearl Earring, using, like, almost following his process, but according to the documents that I've read, there's not much certainty to them, but there are a few certainties to them. But there are parts of the painting that they can't see through, and they're just assuming that it's there. So then most of the surface is, of course, obvious to them, but of course it's obvious the surface, but the underneath kinda unsure. And there's some pigments that they found, but that they're not sure what it is, what pigment it is. They find certain pigments in certain parts because, you know, they can't really scrape off everything, and then Vermeer kind of used different colors on different areas. Like here he used like a reddish brown, so I assume that was a red ochre mixed with some brown ochre. He used it here. It's an underpaint, underpainting. But unanimously, he modeled the face before the painting was, the final layer was added. So I think we're safe there. It was not a direct painting. It was actually modeled first with thick paint. He used thick paint. Like, it's not a thin glazing process, but rather like a normal thick layer of paint. And I'm just trying to share my insights on, just by comparing what the research has found and what they propose, because it's very unclear. Like, they say this side is reddish brown, especially here, they say. Then they're not pointing to certain areas, like here. Like they say here he used brownish gray. So I think it's not even brownish gray. It's just it's just a greenish. It's not even brownish gray. It's greenish brown. It has a green undertone, desaturated yellow green, basically. So when you layer the pink over it, right, because it's green, and you have red, it's going to tone down everything, right? Yellow, blue, but there's more yellow because it's then you add the pink. So first you add the more yellow by adding the cream, then you add the pink, and he varied his thickness of his final layer on different parts. So he's kind of like just scumbling the final layer in. So he was trying, I think he was trying to finish the painting there on the first layer, but of course maybe he was not intending to like add a layer to it, because when you look at the painting, it's not meant to look like a realistic skin, right? It looks like just his usual paintings. But I guess adding the blues again, coming back to this greenish here, so adding his blues, it's more like indigo, because you know phthalo and indigo has the same kind of color. It's just that the indigo is a little bit more like desaturated, right? But to achieve it, they'll just have phthalo plus either a brown ochre or a black. It's almost the same, right? So I think either it's indigo or not, but I don't know. They say indigo is cheaper than ultramarine back then, and then Leonardo also used it in his underpaintings, and maybe Vermeer took that from Leonardo too, or maybe it's a common thing back then to use indigo. But according to Google, it was just mostly using lapis lazuli. It's an expensive pigment, and people say that he died with lots of debt simply because he loved to use lapis lazuli, and he kept ordering it, you know, having it in stock. So maybe, you know, when I painted these areas, I'm just using like a small amount. It's like maybe three grains of rice to create all of these blues here. So mix that with black, or mix that with a little bit of indigo, and I think, you know, you can make your indigo brighter by adding a little bit of ultramarine there, so you'll have a lot of blue to use as an underpainting. And I can see it everywhere. Like you can see here in the areas here on the final painting, there's blue underneath that yellow layer. So what looks like black here, like these areas here, what looks like black is actually blue if you look at it very closely. Just remove the yellow and it's going to look like blue. But then the darkness there, the black, maybe is black, because they also find black on the surfaces. So, and you know, the background here, it's actually indigo with like the yellow thing that he used, which turned black as time went on. So maybe there's mixtures of that here, but like I said, I was reading all of the documents, and it just keeps repeating what they used. There's not really like a list of, you know, a map where you can find all that. They're just pointing to small areas and stuff, so we can't really tell how far. And based on his process, that he changed the colors everywhere, so it's kind of, I thought that of course I prioritize the original, the research, but you kind of have to study the actual painting to know, to like figure out where those things are. Like when they say he used a brownish gray, So maybe their brown is a little bit yellow greenish, right? That's what they mean, brownish gray. Maybe they mean like a raw umber type color. Maybe that's what they say, brownish gray. But since there's the final layer here, the final picture looks greenish, it's impossible that it's just a gray with a yellow or an orange. When they mean brownish gray, so meaning orange, right? So it's a brown, orange brown, like it's gonna look like this, and then you paint over it with with the cream. It's just gonna lighten without a change in. It's not going to green. It's not going to become green. Then you add the pink. It's not going to become greenish. It's just going to become like pink with some cream, desaturated cream. So then we have to ask ourselves, what color is that desaturated cream underneath the pinks and the cream color? So it must have some blue in it, right? So it must be greenish. So it's a greenish brown to me. So it's a greenish brown, because you can see it here. There's blues everywhere, and it kind of fits into. Firstly, if he tried to learn from like Da Vinci and stuff, they kind of use blue, and Da Vinci used blue, indigo in his shadows. So it kind of assuming that he was trying to follow Da Vinci's rules. Maybe he used blue underneath. So I'm just fitting things together, and it may not the expert may not agree, but as far as I'm going here, I'm kind of seeing that result. So right here it's becoming greenish, right? Because there's a little bit of blue, and the way to achieve that is just to add just to dip your brush on the blue. Just dip it very small, mix it into your medium, and then just mix this cream color. And once you use the medium on the cream color, it's gonna become greenish. You don't have to use a lot of ultramarine to achieve what he achieved here. And seeing that he used the pinks, for example, if you look at the final, the original, you see that his pinks here are thick, right? But then he kind of skips the pink over here. He kind of just small brush strokes here. You can see he has brush strokes with the pinks here, but he never really filled in the entire surface here. He allows the blue to appear. So, and when you look at how thick for example, the area here, how thick the paint is here of the pinkish color, which then turned the blue underneath to have this like wavy curve here. I'm seeing that he kind of filled this entire area here with this greenish color that he has, which then by painting those pinks, he kind of put the entire face turning downward. Zuzu Yumben said hi. Hello, Zuzu Yumben. How are you doing today? I hope you're having a good day. And thanks for the support, man. So, basically, that's it for me for now. I'm just reviewing, maybe just putting it out there. I think a lot of things I'm not sure about yet is the color of the turban and the clothing, but I'm getting it here. So it's basically just brown ochre. No, it's not brown ochre. It's I forgot. Burnt umber with yellow. So burnt umber with yellow. This is close to sienna, right? And then mixed with white, and then as it contacts with a greenish brown here, for example, it's gonna turn into this the color that we find here on the reference. But most of these are still in progress, and there's a lot of work to do. So I guess this is how we will be proceeding from now on. Like, I can't actually, you know, it would be so boring like to watch someone like slowly build up all of these forms. So this is not for a show actually. But I think it's more of I'm just gonna report my progress from now on with this painting. And maybe, I don't know, so we'll just see. For now it's a little bit difficult for me to show the actual process, simply because I have to, like, number one, focus. I need my face right up to the painting here, so you're not even gonna see anything when I'm working. So and it's gonna it takes like it's taking me even right now a long time to figure out these forms and actual like precision. So I need the privacy and the focus. So because if I have the camera on and I have to talk, it's gonna be more difficult for me, because you know, the focus and stuff. So maybe I'll just report as I complete. Maybe if I complete the face, I'll talk with you guys, report here. And if I complete the underpainting of the scarf, I'll report the underpainting of this, I'll report. So maybe that's a better way. Zuzuyumben says, I just watched a few of your videos and they are truly amazing. Oh, thanks bro, thanks so much for the support, man. Yes. Zuzuyumben says, I hope you get more followers. Yes, you know, I hope people find my videos informative, and it helps them, you know, in their journey in art. So being the loner artist on YouTube, thank you so much for supporting me and coming to say hi. And I'm not gonna stay long. I think I've said everything I need to say for today. So I hope to find you next. I hope you'll be on next time when I'm live. Thanks again for checking out my videos, man. And I'll see you next time.